Bitcoin is demonetizing store of value assets everywhere in the world.
Our bull case was $1.5 million in 5 years, and we still think that's going to be right.
And I think I mentioned you get to 15,000-ish for ETH.
Michael Saylor, Cathie Wood, Tom Lee. These three experts agree that this dip is your last chance to become a millionaire in cryptocurrency before the price goes higher. You have about 30 days
to be quarantined.
Just a short, happy 30 days.
What?
Michael Saylor, whose company now owns 3% of all Bitcoin. He says that this dip is a gift from God.
This is a gift from God. We are not alone.
If you don't act quick, he's going to buy all this up. That's literally what he says. He's basically saying this is your last chance at these levels before he steps in, and before people he knows steps in. Because you need to realize that more and more people are thinking about Bitcoin, like Michael Saylor articulates here.
Join us now, Michael Saylor, the company's executive chairman. 3% of all the Bitcoins that will ever be minted, 628,791 owned by Strategy, but who's counting?
Yeah, thanks for noticing. Well, I think the key to keep in mind is Bitcoin is demonetizing foreign real estate, private equity, public equity, other sorts of store of value assets everywhere in the world. 20th century physical analog assets are becoming 21st century digital assets. These companies like Apple and Microsoft, if they could buy the S&P index, they'd be better off. It's against SEC rules.
Right.
If they could buy each other's securities, if the Mag 7 could buy each other's securities, they would be better off. That's against SEC rules. The only security Apple can buy is Apple stock. And what do? They buy their own security. So in general, if you're trying to create shareholder value, you don't want to park it in a fiat currency. You want to park it in a tangible asset. But gold and real estate don't make sense.
Did you ever see, what we're talking about?
This is your last chance to buy at these levels before sweeping regulation takes hold. See, most people have no idea how big the crypto market is about to get in America.
So, I leave my motherland for big America.
Paul Atkins, the new pro-crypto SEC chair, seriously wants to see crypto thrive in America. How could you not be bullish hearing him announce this on CNBC? I bet Gary Gensler is throwing up sick hearing this.
Yesterday, the SEC laying out what it's calling Project Crypto, a plan to modernize regulations and allow for crypto-based trading. And joining us now here first on CNBC to discuss it is SEC Chair Paul Atkins. So I read your speech. My takeaway is this is not the SEC under Gary Gensler. This is a new regime. What do you want people to take away from Project Crypto and what you're saying about it?
Well, thanks for that question. So it is a new day at the SEC, and we are picking up the gauntlet and the challenge that President Trump has laid down to make America, the crypto capital of the world, and to have U.S. technology basically running the world running on U.S. technology. So there are a lot of ways that we can help do that, and that is provide certainty and regulatory certainty and good rules that are fit for purpose for the crypto industry so that innovators know how to innovate and investors know what they're investing in, and that everybody can have certainty so that it's on a firm foundation.
Cathie Wood says she's going to step in and buy at these levels if other people don't. Cathie Wood says she's a buyer here. Cathie Wood says 1.5 million Bitcoin in 2 years. 2 years. It sounded crazy to me too.
Crazy!
But then you listen to her explain it. Listen to this.
We have all kinds of metrics, but when I was at Abundance, the forecast was our bull case was $1.5 million in 5 years. So that would have been 2027. We still have time. And we still think that's going to be right. If you just look at the institutional push into Bitcoin, this new asset class, they have to consider it as fiduciaries. When you use those code words, new asset class, what it means, the correlation of these returns are very low compared to those of other assets.
Especially as bonds and stocks are becoming more correlated, you need something uncorrelated.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And so they have to consider it. Now, what are we saying? There are 19.6 million Bitcoin out there right now, and the highest it will ever go is 21 million. There's real scarcity value. And what is going to happen? The price increase for every institutional dollar pushing in now is going to be much higher than it was last year, 2 years ago. It's, we're going to get into, if these institutions really want to own it, what I found fascinating recently, just learned it this morning, is typically when you go through a price move, a Bitcoin price move to the upside, you usually see long-term holders, which is a metric we monitor. It's an on-chain analytics metric, and it means people who have not moved, or wallets that have not moved their Bitcoin in 155 days or more. Yes. Well, normally when you go through a price move to the upside, a very nice one like we've seen in the last year, that tends to start moving down. And it did that, true to form, but it has reversed in recent days because what we learned is GBTC sold some of its Bitcoin. So those wallets hadn't been changed in a long time, right? Now that is done, at least for the time being. Now that is done, and it's going back up again as the price goes up. That's highly unusual. And I think it is because the long-term holder is saying, why would I sell now when I know all these institutions, which own nothing in this realm, in this new asset class, they have to consider it because it is a new asset class.
And the crazy thing is Tom Lee agrees with Cathie Wood. Tom Lee thinks Cathie Wood is 100% right on her Bitcoin prediction.
Look, I want to tell you, I need to tell you that I agree 100%.
I think Bitcoin has now become accepted enough that it's part of people's steady buying. I think there's plenty of now traditional finance investors stacking Bitcoin, and they're buying it every month. And I think that's why it's holding steady here. And to me, for Bitcoin really to make its next quantum move, I do think it's dependent on global liquidity. And so the Fed, as you know, is on hold. But if their next move is to hike, then the entire stock market really is going to have to fight through that. It won't necessarily decline, but it has to fight that. In the Fed argument, there would be, well, the economy is so healthy, I should be raising rates. But the reality is, at this point in the cycle, the Fed should be easing. It's a question of when. And if they begin easing in the fall, then I think that's going to coincide with Bitcoin making a step function higher. And I still think 200 to 250,000 is possible.
There are so many quality altcoins I think are worth owning. Tom Lee is buying as much Ethereum as he possibly can. He wants his company to accumulate 5% of all Ethereum eventually. So, we can front-run Tom Lee and people like Tom Lee here. Doubles down on his $15,000 per one Ethereum price prediction.
Start getting discounted on Ethereum. And I think that's why the price still needs to adjust higher. And I think I mentioned that if we use multiples similar to Circle, you get to 15,000-ish for ETH. And that would just be a today value. So I think ETH is still undervalued. But we also know, just from a trading perspective, look, there's a lot of people who think ETH has become sclerotic, like it's a stale layer one. There's more things happening on Solana or Sui. But the reality is that ETH is a legally recognized blockchain operating within the US, and it's never had any downtime. I thought it was so interesting that Vitalik on the 10th birthday of Ethereum notes zero downtime. That matters to Wall Street. I actually think that's almost a little bit of a hat tip to Wall Street because banks care about zero downtime. But again, as you know, there's people who have a pair. They like something else and they're short ETH. So I think 4,000 is a line in the sand. But to me, it's just a matter.
Thank you for watching my video so far. Please subscribe, like, and be sure to comment on this style of video. Go and watch my other previous videos. Thank you and see you next time. Goodbye.